We have some breaking news as Oshae Brissett has declined his player option, and that means he is going to be testing free agency and be leaving the Boston Celtics this off season as they are a team in that second apron and won't be able to give him a long-term extension. We'll be diving in and what this means with the Celtics losing a key utility player and how this could impact the bench with the Celtics having some draft capital as well. All of that and more in this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Velez. Before we dive in, though, if you guys do enjoy the content, make sure to hit that like button. Without further ado, though, let's dive into the content today. First off, we are going to be talking about Oshae Brissett leaving, and the writing is basically on the wall for the utility man here, as we can see from this report from Keith Smith, NBA, who used to cover the Boston Celtics, now works for Spot Track. But he said that Oshae Brissett is declining his $2.5 million player option with the Boston Celtics for the 2024 and 2025 season, a league source told Spot Track. Brissett will now become an unrestricted free agent this summer. Now, if you guys do not know or don't really know how the Boston Celtics look with their salary cap, we can see obviously here that they are tied up. They're in the second apron. Jaylen Brown has that $50 million kicking in. Holiday and Porziņģis were both given extensions, and Derrick White and Jayson Tatum are both going to be looking to get theirs as well. With Horford still making $9 million, this team is strapped into the cap, and if they're going to make additions, it's going to have to be on that low-end market, similar to how the Celtics were able to get Oshae Brissett. He came over here on a $2.5 million deal and was a key utility piece for the Boston Celtics. His contributions at the small forward, power forward, even small ball five at the dunker spot with his ability to be able to be a dunk threat and a lob threat down low. His tenacious and aggressive offensive rebounding and hustle was unmatched from the Celtics team. And you could clearly see it from the minute he got into Boston. As someone who watched him play at Syracuse when I went to tour the school in 2018, I had already knew who Oshae Brissett was, kind of understands his game style, and he is a true representation of what it is to be a Boston Celtic. A guy who dives on the floor, gives that hustle, gives that energy. And it was something that I wanted to see possibly come into this playoffs. And we definitely saw that emergence in game 3, where Luke Kornet got a wrist injury versus the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. Oshae Brissett came in, was that Swiss Army knife, as I want to call him, as a wing, really does it all, gets the rebounds, makes the right plays, makes the smart plays, and is not selfish in taking his own shots. But when he has that lane for clearance, he's going to come in and slam it home. And then on the defensive side, really great, switchable, works great on the pick and rolls, fantastic, doesn't play drop coverage, is able to play and guard the 2 through 5 at basically ease, get some great steals as well. I think he is a fantastic piece, and ultimately having him on a $2.5 million contract, if he did come back for a player option, would have been a steal for the Boston Celtics. Ultimately, he did have some shine in the playoffs and did have, some spurts through the regular season where he did look good, and that's where it makes sense for Oshae Brissett to test free agency. I think that he's well worth more than $2.5 million in this NBA, in this market. And I think in free agency, a bunch of contenders saw that he has that defensive versatility to play the 3 through 5, but also has that, spark plug offensive ability to come off the bench and be a great locker room guy as well. Ultimately, I do wish the best for Oshae Brissett and do think that he could get a contract anywhere near the $4 to $6 million range in free agency. With Oshae Brissett now testing free agency, and as we already discussed, the Celtics being strapped in the second apron, most likely they are not going to be able to bring him back, and he is going to be going to get more money in free agency, or else he would have came back for the championship and for the run with the squad. So that gets into our next point here. Kind of what does this mean for the Boston Celtics here? Now, obviously, losing Oshae Brissett to free agency with him going to be leaving, the Celtics now have a vacant roster spot, basically open automatically. As we already know, we can look at this as well. We can see Luke Kornet, Xavier Tillman, Svi Mykhailiuk. Those guys are also guys that are free agents, and Sam Hauser and Neemias Queta both have team options. I would think that with the Boston Celtics losing a guy in Oshae Brissett, this would mean one thing and one thing only for the Boston Celtics, and that means we're going to see an emergence with Jordan Walsh, I think, in the Summer League and in the development this year. Walsh was selected at pick 38 last year and was a solid defender at Arkansas, great playmaker, great facilitator, and as again, kind of a do-it-all intangible Swiss Army knife guy, similar to Oshae Brissett. I do think that Brissett has, a little bit more of a ability to be a little bit quicker and to be able to guard the smaller guard a bit better than maybe Jordan Walsh can. But Walsh can hold his own on the perimeter, in the paint at defending. He can play that small ball five. And he can also have that versatility off coming screens. And he's also, a high impact player on the offensive side, similar to Brissett. He fights for those offensive rebounds. He brings those windmill dunks. He can be a lob threat. He's also a guy who, has kind of gelled with this team, and he can see an emergence as well. We also mentioned Luke Kornet, Xavier Tillman, Neemias Queta. Neemias Queta, a fan favorite of mine and people of Celtics Digest, but not only Celtics fans in general, who saw him have that blossoming run with that in that Los Angeles road trip this past season. I think he's definitely going to get a team-friendly contract, and we'll get to see him get some experiments. We'll see how he kind of develops with this team, with this roster through the summer. He's obviously, I don't know if he can play in the summer league, to be honest, but if he can, he will. If not, then he'll get some run with this team in the offseason. Similar to like a guy in Xavier Tillman as well. The Celtics have his bird rights, and I know that a lot of people have said this in the comments, but I think that and I've said this since the Celtics have acquired him, that he is a baby Al Horford. We saw in the playoffs him hit that corner three, and I think that if they lock him in the gym with Al Horford, especially with him coming back and having both of those guys really working with each other through the entire offseason, getting prepped up for this season, I think that Al Horford is that replacement similar for, Xavier Tillman is that replacement for Al Horford in that future as that, switchable big who can stretch out and play the four, but also hit the three-pointer. Now, in one of our previous videos as well, we also broke down the possibility of the Celtics trading up and possibly selecting somebody in a guy in Kel'el Ware who can now kind of fit into this rotation, as now the Celtics are losing one of those guys in that front court, kind of jam that they had. Because in our last video, we broke down if the Celtics do retain everybody, if they do bring everybody back, they'll have Al Horford, Kristaps Porziņģis, Luke Kornet, Xavier Tillman, Jordan Walsh. They would have had Oshae Brissett and Neemias Queta. That's 7 guys for your front court. Now, obviously, removing Oshae, that would be 6. That's still a solid amount of guys. And again, guys that have played with each other through the entire season, guys who have chemistry, and guys that all have different roles. Neemias can still bring that offensive energy from that rebounding and that shot protection that Brissett brings, while Walsh can bring that defensive physicality and that switchability that he also brings. And you kind of fill that hole right there. Ultimately, I do wish Oshae the best because I did like him in college at Syracuse. He did have a grind coming through the G League, working through the Toronto G League, getting into Indiana, and then obviously winning a championship with the Boston Celtics, and he deserves all the praise and should be getting that bag. And I do praise him on doing that. With the Celtics now having this open roster spot, I think this opens the draft talks and the trade talks around the draft a little bit more because now the Celtics have a free roster spot. Could they trade that 30 overall pick to possibly, or even 54th overall pick, in combining them to possibly get a player to fill in that spot for Oshae? Do they draft a player there? Do they trade back like they similarly did with Jordan Walsh? All those questions, all those stuff we will have breaking down for you here on Celtics Digest. So if you guys do enjoy the content, if you guys do enjoy all this news, please hit that like button and drop down your thoughts down below in the comment section on what you guys think about Oshae leaving. Do you think this is smart for the Celtics? Do you think it's a bad move? Do you think this is smart for Oshae, bad for Oshae? I want to know what all you guys are thinking down below. Honestly, I think the Celtics will be A-okay losing Oshae, but I think that it would have been a steal and would have been fantastic if we still were able to keep him on that $2.5 million contract. Before we head out, though, before we say goodbye, we have to get to the comment of the day. So like I mentioned, drop down your thoughts, drop down your comments down below, and you could be featured for the comment of the day. Today's comment of the day goes out to our boy TPT8080, saying Xavier Tillman is a baby Al Horford, just needs proper Celtics training and hard work. And exactly like I just said a couple minutes ago, he is preaching what I've been saying the entire time. This was on our last video talking about Al Horford remaining and staying with this squad, and that's what I'm saying. You're able to, if you can keep up Xavier Tillman because you have his bird rights, it doesn't affect the second apron, it doesn't have any penalties, nothing like that. If team matches him, you give him that contract, bring Tillman back. Try to bring Kornet back. He has the vibes. He's woven with his team. Maybe bring back Svi. But if not, maybe Svi, maybe Brissett are those changes. Maybe Jordan Walsh gets some more playing time due to the benefactors of losing out on Oshae Brissett. Or maybe we get a new player, or maybe a nice draft guy comes through for us. Letting you guys know, I do appreciate everyone showing the support. We've been absolutely killing it here on the channel recently, and it all goes down to you guys. I really, really do appreciate everybody tuning in, hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really does mean the world to me. We're going to have live streamings coming up this week. We're going to be doing one before the draft, previewing that, going over some more logistics, stuff like that. Hope you guys will enjoy that. I'll announce that in the community page tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Let me know your thoughts down below. Peace out. I'm Bruce Velez. Go Boston Celtics.